You've been sensing it, haven't you? That quiet internal shift that shows up before anything changes on the outside. It's like a subtle vibration in your spirit telling you that something big, something divine, something prepared exclusively for you is on its way. You might not see it with your eyes yet, but your soul feels the pressure, the stretching, the rearranging. That sensation isn't anxiety, it's spiritual expansion. It's the feeling chosen one get right before God releases sudden wealth into their lives. If you've been watching Mirror of the Soul long enough, you know that nothing in your life happens without a spiritual countdown attached to it. And right now, that countdown is dangerously close to zero. For the longest time, you've had to survive off faith alone. You've had to wake up every day and pretend everything was fine, even when you were breaking inside. You've had to smile while carrying weights that others never had to lift. You've had to push forward even when every door around you seemed sealed shut. But chosen ones carry a different blueprint. You weren't meant to fit into a normal timeline. You were meant to endure long delays so that when God elevates you, nobody can deny the miracle. That's why your journey took longer. That's why you had to go without. That's why the struggle felt personal. Because the reward waiting for you isn't average, it's sudden, it's divine, it's life-altering. And deep down, you know it. What you're stepping into now is just a blessing. It's payback for every silent prayer, every lonely night, every moment you swallowed your pain and kept moving. People saw your outer life, but God saw your inner world. You weren't crying for attention, you were crying for alignment. You weren't isolated because you were weak. You were isolated because wealth was being built around you spiritually before being delivered physically. There's a reason sudden wealth often hits chosen ones unexpectedly, because if you saw it coming, your enemies would see it too. God hid your breakthrough even from you to make sure no one could sabotage it before it arrived. But the real shift happening in your life right now is this. God is transitioning you from survival mode to abundance flow. You're stepping out of the season where you had to scrape, borrow, adjust, compromise, and stretch every little resource. You're entering a season where opportunities chase you instead of you chasing them, where doors open by themselves, where people who once ignored you suddenly want to invest in you, partner with you, or ask for your opinion. And as you watch this transformation unfold, I want you to ask yourself, are you prepared for the version of yourself that already has what you've been praying for? That's the real question today, and I want you to answer it honestly in the comments. Someone needs to claim it publicly to seal it spiritually. And if this message is touching something deep in you right now, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Mirror of the Soul, and stay connected. Not just for the content, but for the confirmations God keeps sending to you through these messages. Because you and I both know this isn't entertainment. This is alignment. This is guidance. This is preparation for the sudden wealth you're about to walk into. So stay ready, stay receptive, and stay tuned. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. There's a strange calm that comes before a financial elevation, and chosen ones feel it long before the blessing shows up. You may have noticed yourself withdrawing lately, not because you're tired of people, but because your spirit is preparing for a new frequency. Wealth has a vibration, abundance has a sound, and your soul is tuning itself to match it. Suddenly, people who once drained you feel heavy. Conversations that once entertained you feel shallow. Environments that once comforted you now irritate your spirit. This isn't you acting different. This is you outgrowing a life you're no longer meant to stay in. And that inner disconnect is God's way of saying, I'm moving you into a different dimension. What most people don't understand is that sudden wealth requires spiritual readiness, not just financial strategy. Anyone can receive money, but not everyone can carry prosperity. You've spent years learning lessons that others ignored, lessons about integrity, patience, humility, accountability. And those lessons weren't random. They were the foundation of your wealth season. Before God gives abundance, He builds character. Before He releases increase, He strengthens your discernment. Think back on how much sharper, wiser, and emotionally disciplined you've become. Those weren't normal shifts. That was divine preparation in disguise. Now, when sudden wealth hits a chosen one, it often exposes the true nature of the people around them. The moment your glow increases, their masks start slipping. You'll notice certain people becoming unusually curious about your plans. Some will suddenly check on you. Others will criticize your growth as if you owe them an explanation. Pay attention. Wealth doesn't change you, it reveals them. And you must prepare yourself emotionally, because when God elevates you, He also separates you. It's not punishment, it's protection. You are not meant to take everyone into your abundant season. One of the biggest signs that sudden wealth is coming is when life starts closing doors that used to be open. Opportunities disappear, people pull away, plans fall apart. In the moment, it feels like rejection, but in reality, it's redirection. God will often strip away what's familiar so you won't settle for less than what's destined. You may have been asking, why is everything changing so fast? But chosen one, the truth is simple. God is clearing your path so your blessing can land without interference. He is removing anything and anyone who could contaminate your next level. During this stage, you may feel a strange mix of peace and uneasiness at the same time. Peace because you know something bigger is coming. Uneasiness because you don't know how it will manifest. That internal tension is the spiritual equivalent of standing on the edge of a breakthrough. You're not lost, you're being repositioned. You're not forgotten, you're being recalibrated. And sometimes, elevation requires unsettling your spirit so you won't cling to what's comfortable. You're being upgraded internally before being elevated externally. Sudden wealth doesn't show up randomly. It shows up when the chosen one has reached a point where they can no longer be manipulated, guilt-tripped, or emotionally controlled. Look back. The situations that almost broke you were actually breaking the chains that kept you in survival mode. The betrayals that crushed you were teaching you how to protect your energy. The losses that devastated you were preparing space for abundance. You were never being destroyed. You were being refined into someone who can handle the weight of prosperity without losing your soul. Now I want you to reflect on something. What have you outgrown that you're still trying to hold on to? Is it a relationship, a friendship, a habit, a mindset? Sudden wealth requires mental space, emotional clarity, and spiritual alignment. Comment below what part of your old life you feel God pulling you away from. Someone might find freedom through your honesty. Chosen one, sudden wealth doesn't always arrive as money first. Sometimes it comes as ideas that won't leave you alone. You might find yourself daydreaming more, planning more, imagining a future that looks nothing like your past. That's not just imagination. That's prophetic insight. God gives chosen ones glimpses of the life they're about to step into so the soul can adjust before the blessings arrive. Your future is calling you, and your spirit is already beginning to respond. Another sign is when you suddenly feel dissatisfied with things that once satisfied you. The old routines feel stale. The old ambitions feel small. The old life doesn't stimulate you anymore. This is spiritual expansion. You've already outgrown the level you're living on, and your soul knows it. That pull you're feeling, it's destiny tugging at you. It's the universe aligning opportunities you haven't even seen yet. And just like a seed breaks before it grows, you had to feel some internal cracking so your abundance could sprout. You may also notice unexpected connections beginning to appear, a stranger giving you advice, someone recommending an opportunity, a random message inspiring your next move. These aren't coincidences. These are divine breadcrumbs. God often sends signs through people who don't even know they're being used. Pay attention to conversations, dreams, instincts, sudden ideas, or repeated messages you keep hearing. These are signals that your wealth season isn't months away, it's already unfolding. Before sudden wealth comes, chosen ones often experience unexpected emotional release. You might find yourself crying for no clear reason, feeling memories resurface, or suddenly losing interest in past attachments. This isn't weakness, it's spiritual detox. You can't carry old pain into new abundance. God is cleansing you so your blessing doesn't collide with unresolved wounds. Emotional release is preparation, not punishment. It's the soul clearing space, because something massive is about to enter your life. You've also likely been feeling exhausted, not physically but spiritually. It's the type of tiredness that sleep can't fix. That's because your spirit is shifting timelines. You are about to go from barely managing to overflow. Your mind is adjusting from lack to abundance, and that transition takes energy. Don't mistake this fatigue for failure. It means you are entering the final stretch. The storm always hits hardest before the blessing breaks through. During this phase, God will also expose financial patterns that kept you in cycles of struggle. Maybe you overspent when you were stressed. Maybe you undercharged your worth. Maybe you allowed others to take advantage of your generosity. These realizations aren't meant to shame you, they're meant to equip you. Sudden wealth requires wisdom, boundaries, and emotional discipline, and you're being shaped into someone who will never lose what God gives them. Chosen one, another sign that sudden wealth is coming is when you start noticing that people treat you differently, even if they can't explain why. Some will suddenly become softer with you, more respectful, more cautious. Others will grow cold, jealous, or distant without any logical reason. This is spiritual recognition. Your energy is rising and people can sense the shift before you do. They feel the elevation on you. They feel the glow growing around you. They don't know you're stepping into wealth, but their spirits pick up the frequency of increase, and their reactions reveal everything. When God is preparing you for financial abundance, He also begins cutting off relationships that can't go with you. Not because these people are evil, but because they lack the capacity to handle your next level. Some were assigned to your struggle season, not your abundance season. Some were meant to witness your growth, not partake in it. As your blessing approaches, you'll notice disconnections that make no sense. People you cared for will slip away. People you trusted will shift. Let it happen. Divine separation always precedes divine elevation. You may even encounter people trying to re-enter your life after abandoning you. They will appear with apologies, excuses, or sudden interest. But be very careful. Some aren't coming back to reconnect. They're coming back to monitor what God is doing for you. Not everyone deserves a seat at the table of your abundance. And God will test your discernment to make sure you don't sabotage your own blessing by letting the wrong people back in. There's a point in every chosen one's journey where life feels unusually still, almost too quiet. This stillness is not emptiness, it's divine preparation. Everything around you seems to pause because you're being positioned for sudden overflow. When God is about to accelerate you, He brings you into a season of silence so your mind can reset, your emotions can stabilize, and your spirit can receive. You're not stuck, you're being groomed for clarity. Silence is the soil where breakthroughs grow. This stillness also reveals your deepest fears and hidden insecurities. Old wounds begin resurfacing, not to torture you, but to heal you. You might find yourself replaying past mistakes or analyzing old relationships. This is your spirit trying to close chapters you never emotionally finished. Sudden wealth requires emotional closure, and God won't bless you until your heart is ready to carry abundance without self-sabotage. This is also the season where you start craving solitude. You want to be alone more because your spirit is recalibrating. You may stop answering messages, cancel plans, or avoid unnecessary conversations. People may think you're distant, but in reality, you're becoming aligned. Chosen ones do not grow in chaos, they grow in silence. And this silence is signaling that your elevation is dangerously close. Before sudden wealth arrives, chosen ones often go through a season where they feel extremely misunderstood. No one seems to get you anymore. People think you're changing, acting different, or becoming distant. But what they don't realize is that you're shedding old identities. God is expanding you into someone they've never seen before. Your mindset is shifting. Your values are evolving. Your ambitions are rising. You're not becoming unrecognizable, you're becoming divine. In this phase, you may find yourself losing interest in conversations that once entertained you. Drama feels childish. Gossip feels pointless. Arguments drain your spirit. You're no longer available for low-frequency interactions because you're preparing to operate at a higher financial and spiritual level. Your energy is too valuable to waste. Your soul is too wise to be lowered. Your rising and elevation always isolates before it integrates. People around you may judge your transformation as arrogance or coldness, but that's because they only knew you in your survival season. They don't recognize the version of you God is building now. They don't understand that chosen ones must detach in order to grow. Wealth requires emotional intelligence, and God is training you to respond differently, think differently, and move differently. Ask yourself this: who is struggling to understand the version of you that's emerging right now? Comment below and help someone else recognize they're not alone in this transformation. Sudden wealth often arrives after a season of intense warfare, spiritual, mental, or emotional. If your life recently felt chaotic, unpredictable, or unstable, it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The enemy always fights hardest when a breakthrough is near. Attacks increase when blessings increase. You weren't being destroyed, you were being sharpened. And the fact that you survived everything that tried to break you is proof that what's coming next is monumental. This warfare often shows up as unexpected setbacks. Plans fall apart, money gets tight, opportunities slip away. But chosen ones must understand something. When God blocks something, it's because what He has planned is bigger. Your rejection was divine redirection. Your delay was divine safeguarding. And your disappointment was divine protection. Everything that looked like loss was actually a setup for abundance. This is also the season where you start recognizing your own strength. You look back at the battles you fought, battles others would have collapsed under, and you realize you didn't endure by accident. You endured because you were chosen for increase. God doesn't put heavy weights on weak shoulders. He strengthens the ones He plans to elevate. Now ask yourself, what recent battle do you now realize was preparing you, not punishing you? Comment your answer so others can find strength in your testimony. One of the final signs before sudden wealth hits is an overwhelming desire for discipline. You start feeling the urge to improve your habits, clean your environment, manage your time better, take your goals more seriously. This isn't motivation, it's spiritual alignment. God is preparing your character to match the blessing He's releasing. Wealth doesn't flow to chaos. Prosperity doesn't grow in disorder. Your new habits are forming because your new life is approaching. You may feel pulled to organize your finances, rethink your spending, or eliminate distractions. You suddenly want to cut toxic patterns, unhealthy behaviors, or draining relationships. These urges come from your higher self, the version of you God already sees. You're not becoming strict, you're becoming responsible. You're not becoming distant, you're becoming focused. Discipline is a sign that destiny is near. You may also find yourself becoming irritated with things you once tolerated. Laziness, excuses, drama, inconsistency. They feel heavier now. That's because you're stepping into a season where you must protect your energy like a treasure. Wealth flows to people who know how to guard their focus. And God is teaching you this skill before He increases you. Take a moment and reflect. What new discipline has been forming inside you lately? Your answer might inspire someone who's trying to elevate with you. And if this message feels like spiritual confirmation, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Mirror of the Soul, and stay with this journey. You're not just preparing for wealth, you're becoming the person who can sustain it. Chosen one, as sudden wealth draws closer, you'll begin to notice that opportunities you once chased now start chasing you. Doors you knocked on for years suddenly swing open without effort. People who never noticed you now want to collaborate, invest, or be associated with you. This shift isn't random, it's spiritual repositioning. When God elevates you, favor begins functioning on your behalf in ways you can't explain. You start receiving blessings you didn't ask for, connections you didn't expect, and breakthroughs you didn't plan. That's what happens when the season changes. Favor replaces effort. During this time, you may feel like everything is happening too fast. Surprises come out of nowhere. Unexpected connections appear. Unexpected support shows up. But this acceleration is not chaos, it's divine timing. What took years before will take days now. What felt impossible suddenly becomes accessible. You're stepping into a season where God compresses timelines and multiplies results. What others call luck is actually alignment. But with new opportunities comes new responsibility. You must discern which doors are from God and which are distractions. Not every open door is an invitation. Some are traps meant to drain your focus or delay your purpose. Pay attention to how opportunities make you feel. Anything that disrupts your peace, confuses your spirit, or forces you to compromise your integrity is not from God. Sudden wealth requires clear discernment. Reflect on this deeply. Which opportunities in your life feel like divine alignment and which feel like distractions? Comment your thoughts. Your insight might help someone else catch their own warning signs. Another powerful sign that sudden wealth is coming is when you begin to lose interest in proving yourself to anyone. You no longer explain your decisions. You no longer justify your growth. You no longer seek validation from people who never saw your worth in the first place. This detachment is spiritual maturity. You are stepping out of the need to be understood and into the confidence of being chosen. Your focus shifts from seeking approval to seeking purpose. When wealth is approaching, God removes the desire for external validation because He is preparing you to walk into a season where people will have opinions about your success. Some will celebrate you. Some will envy you. Some will doubt you. And some will pretend to support you while secretly resenting you. That's why God builds your inner strength before He blesses your outer life. You must be emotionally stable before you become financially elevated. You may also notice yourself becoming more selective with your time. You no longer tolerate meaningless conversations or pointless commitments. You protect your peace at all costs. You choose silence over arguments and distance over drama. That's because your energy is becoming more valuable. God is training you to guard your spirit the same way you will guard your wealth. Chosen one, sudden wealth often shows up after a long season where nothing seems to move. A dry season, a silent season, a stagnant season, a season where life feels like it's on pause and your prayers echo back at you. This isn't because God forgot you, it's because He was building something behind the scenes. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was foundation. God strengthens you in silence so no one else can take credit for the blessing that follows. In this dry season, you may have felt like your effort didn't matter. You worked hard with no results. You prayed with no answer. You invested with no return. But the chosen ones must understand something crucial. What seems like delay is often spiritual accumulation. Your blessings were stacking, growing, multiplying, maturing, waiting for the perfect moment to be released. God doesn't deal in moments. He deals in divine timing. And now, as the silence begins to break, you'll notice subtle signs that your dry season is ending. Hope begins resurfacing. Ideas return. Your confidence rebuilds. You laugh more. You dream more. You feel lighter. These emotional shifts are not coincidences, they're spiritual indicators. Your soul knows the drought is over before your eyes do. You're about to enter a season where everything you waited for shows up at once. Ask yourself this: what have you been praying for that suddenly feels closer? Share it in the comments. Someone else needs to feel that same hope. Before sudden wealth arrives, God will place you in situations that force you to trust Him more than your own strength. This may look like losing a job, having a plan fall apart, or being pushed out of a comfort zone. In the moment, it feels overwhelming. But in reality, it's divine positioning. You had to lose what was small to receive what is great. Chosen ones are never downgraded, they are repositioned for elevation. This forced trust season is uncomfortable because your logical mind can't understand what your spirit already knows. Your spirit knows that something better is coming. Your spirit knows that every closed door is making space. Your spirit knows that your steps are being guided even when the path looks uncertain. And as you surrender emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, you begin to align with the flow of abundance that's waiting for you. During this season, God will often remove your safety nets so you rely solely on Him. Not because He wants to weaken you, but because He wants to strengthen your faith. Wealth without spiritual grounding becomes a trap, but wealth rooted in faith becomes a tool. You are being shaped into someone who will handle abundance with wisdom, gratitude, and humility, not fear. Take a moment and reflect. Where in your life is God asking you to trust Him more right now? Your honesty might unlock clarity for someone else in the comments. As sudden wealth approaches, your intuition becomes sharper. You may begin sensing things before they happen. You might feel warned about certain people, drawn toward certain decisions, or guided toward unexpected opportunities. This heightened intuition is divine activation. God is increasing your spiritual sensitivity so you can navigate your new level with wisdom. Wealth requires intuition, not just intelligence. You may also experience prophetic dreams or symbolic visions. Dreams about water, rising, elevation, new doors, keys, travel, or sudden breakthroughs are spiritual signs that your subconscious is preparing for change. Pay attention to these dreams. Write them down. Reflect on them. God often speaks to chosen ones through dreams when their waking world is too noisy to hear Him. In this intuitive season, your spirit will begin rejecting things that aren't aligned with your destiny. You may suddenly feel uncomfortable around certain people. You may feel drained by certain environments. You may feel a strong urge to move, change jobs, start projects, or restructure your life. These intuitive nudges are not random, they're divine guidance. Ask yourself, what is your intuition trying to tell you right now? Your answer might help someone else recognize their own inner voice. Chosen one, as sudden wealth draws near, you will notice something unusual happening inside you. You start craving new identity. Not material things, not attention, not validation, but a new version of yourself. You begin feeling uncomfortable living the way you used to. Your spirit starts rejecting smallness. Your soul becomes allergic to mediocre thinking. This identity shift is one of the strongest signs that you are entering a wealth season. God is not just blessing your life. He is upgrading your identity so the blessing has a home to rest in. You can't stay who you were and enter what God has prepared. This identity shift often includes a deep desire for change, changing your habits, your environment, your work patterns, your circle, even the way you think about yourself. You begin seeing yourself differently, almost like you're meeting a new version of you. That's because you are. The old you was built for survival. The new you is built for abundance. The old you reacted. The new you leads. The old you hoped. The new you expects. That shift is wealth aligning with your identity. You may feel an inner pull to start preparing for things you haven't even received yet. You organize your finances, clean your space, plan your future, improve your skills. These behaviors aren't random, they are spiritual preparation. You are acting like someone who already has the blessing because your soul is already living in the reality your body is walking toward. Faith always upgrades the identity before it upgrades the lifestyle. Ask yourself honestly, who is the new version of me that God is trying to introduce? Comment your thoughts. Your insight could awaken someone who's fighting the same internal change. And if this message feels like it's describing your soul in real time, make sure you like the video, subscribe to Mirror of the Soul, and stay aligned. Your new identity is rising, and with it, your new life. Sudden wealth often arrives after God has pushed you through a long season of pruning, removing, cutting, stripping away everything that no longer serves your next level. This pruning is painful, confusing, and emotionally draining, but it is always purposeful. God removes things you would never remove yourself. He cuts what you would keep. He ends what you would tolerate. This is because He knows what you don't yet see. Abundance cannot grow in overcrowded soil. During pruning, relationships fall apart, friendships drift, opportunities collapse, patterns dissolve, even parts of your personality begin to fade. It feels like loss, but spiritually, it's renovation. God is renovating your life so that wealth can be placed in clean, healthy, strengthened soil. You had to lose certain people because they would have drained your increase. You had to lose certain habits because they would have sabotaged your abundance. You had to lose outdated versions of yourself because they could not carry the blessing. What you must understand is that pruning is not rejection, it is protection. God removed you from certain rooms to protect your gift. He closed certain doors to protect your peace. He dismantled certain connections to protect your future. It takes spiritual maturity to understand that not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Some exits are divine upgrades. Chosen one, as sudden wealth approaches, you will notice your work ethic transforming, not because someone is pushing you, not because circumstances force you, but because something inside you awakens. You begin feeling hungry again, not for survival, but for purpose. You start showing up differently. You want to create, build, grow, excel. This is the spirit of excellence being activated in you. God is aligning your discipline with the level of abundance He's bringing. You may notice yourself becoming more intentional, planning better, thinking smarter, using your time wisely. This new discipline is not coming from motivation, it is coming from destiny. You've stepped into a mindset where mediocrity irritates you. Wasting time feels wrong. Being stagnant feels uncomfortable. This is a sign that your spirit is preparing for expansion. Wealth responds to discipline, and God is shaping you into someone who can sustain blessings without losing them. You'll also feel more creative, ideas flowing unexpectedly, solutions coming easily, vision becoming clearer. This creativity is wealth energy. Prosperity requires imagination before manifestation. God gives you dreams so your spirit can recognize the blessing before your eyes see it. The ideas you're getting now are seeds for the wealth you're about to harvest. Another sign that sudden wealth is near is when you begin experiencing unexpected peace in areas where you once felt fear. Worries that used to keep you up at night suddenly lose their power. Situations that once stressed you now feel small. Financial concerns that used to terrify you suddenly feel manageable. This shift isn't denial, it's spiritual elevation. When peace increases, it means God is preparing to release what you've been praying for. Peace is the greatest evidence of spiritual alignment. Before God elevates you financially, He elevates your internal world. He gives you peace to handle wealth with wisdom, not anxiety. Many people get money but lose themselves because they never healed internally. But you, chosen one, are being given peace first so your abundance doesn't destroy your identity. This peace also reveals who is meant for your new season. Some people will try to re-enter your life when they sense your glow growing, but suddenly their presence disturbs your peace. That's your confirmation. If someone disrupts your peace now, they will sabotage your prosperity later. God is showing you who cannot come with you. The final sign before sudden wealth arrives is when you begin to feel an unexplainable sense of expectancy, a deep knowing that something big is coming. You can't describe it. You can't explain it. You just feel it in your bones. It shows up in your thoughts, your dreams, your emotions, your intuition. This inner knowing is not imagination. It is prophetic alignment. Your spirit is sensing the arrival of what your prayers have been calling in. This expectancy shows up as hope returning after years of disappointment. It shows up as motivation rising out of nowhere. It shows up as a desire to prepare, even when you don't know what for. That's because God doesn't let you walk into blessings unprepared. Before the physical blessing arrives, the spiritual signal is sent. Your soul feels it first. You might also notice that your faith feels stronger than ever. You believe in yourself again. You believe in your future again. You trust God's timing again. This renewed faith is the final stage of manifestation. When faith aligns with destiny, nothing can stop what God is about to release. Now ask yourself one powerful question. What blessing do you feel is coming toward you right now? Write it in the comments and declare it boldly. Your words carry spiritual power. And if this entire message felt like it was written just for you, make sure you like the video, subscribe to Mirror of the Soul, and stay connected. Your wealth season isn't coming, it's here.